Hey everyone, this is CW, and I'm back at it again with an Invoked deck profile. I know it's been a while, but I'm excited to be back and give you this deck profile. Of course, the first card in the deck is your 3 Alistair the Invoker. It's an Invoked deck, so of course you have to run 3. Next is the Mekk-Knight engine. Run 3 purple. 2 blue. And 1 indigo. I believe this is the perfect ratio, and the purple Mech Knight is actually the most important Mech Knight because it floats from the board. Next is the hand trap lineup. In today's meta, you definitely need to run your hand traps to stun your opponent. So I decided to run two of for most of the hand traps. So 2 Ash Blossom, 2 Effect Veiler, 2 Ghost Ogre, 2 Droll. The reason I do 2 ofs is because when I was running 3 ofs of certain hand traps, it would make my hands too cloggy and it would take away from the consistency of the deck. Now we're on to the spells. Of course, it's an Invoked deck, so you have your 3 Meltdowns. Especially now that Terraforming is at 2, you want to run 3 Meltdowns. I also play Desires in the deck, so you want to maximize that. And then I run 3 Invocation. I believe running 3 of this card is very important now because it's your main spell in your deck that you're going to use, and you can OTK with it so quickly by using Invocation multiple times in one turn. Next is another awesome spell card, which is Instant Fusion. This essentially gives you another mind control in the deck, so you can go into Thousand's Eye, or I can go into Ragin or Kaliga. Depending on the scenario, sometimes you can go into Ragin and then summon your Alistair, and then you can go into your Invoker of Madness. Just depends on the scenario and what you need to do. And speaking of mind control, I run 3 mind control. This card is so good. It helps break opponents' boards like crazy, and especially since I plan on going second in this deck, it definitely helps me out in a lot of duels. And then next is your Pot of Desires. I run 2, and then I also run Upstart. I want to make this deck as consistent as possible, so I run 40 cards, and then I run the Upstart, so it's essentially a 39 card deck. And then next is one of my favorite parts of the deck, which is the Sky Striker engine. I run 3 Engage. And then the targets I search out is, there's an Anchor, Afterburner, and then of course Drones. Drones is so good in this deck because it's basically a 1 card Alistair link. And then Afterburner is good spot removal, and then Anchor is really good negation. The reason I like this engine in the deck is if you're in certain scenarios where your opponent makes you go first or you have to go first, this enables your deck to go first. That way you're not relying on the Mech Knight so much, and then you don't have plays and your hands are just filled with Mech Knights, and then you just have to pass, and hopefully your opponent doesn't OTK you. Alright. Next is the extra deck. I'm also going to be doing the side deck in this video. For your Link monsters, of course you have Link Karibo. And then I run Hayate, and then Kagari for the Sky Striker package. And then for the Link 2s, I run 2 the Invoker of Madness. Most people run 1, but I find scenarios where you have a grind game and you definitely need 2 of this card. And I find it so many times where I'm just going into it, or I've had it where my opponent has negated the first one or destroyed it, and then I'm like, well, I'm stuck, and then I at least have my second one to go into. And then the last up for the Link 2 is Nightmare Phoenix. It's a good back row removal. And then for the Link 3s, I run Decode Talker and Nightmare Unicorn. This is another good spot removal card. And then the reason I run Decode Talker is because sometimes I can OTK better with this card than going into my Invoker of Madness. A lot of times I can set up a Decode Talker with 2 Mekhabas and then just OTK my opponent. And then for the only Link 4 that I run is Borrelsword Dragon. Like I said, this is a OTK going second deck, so a lot of times all you need to make is a Borrelsword and a Mekhaba, and as long as you broke your opponent's board, you can just OTK them. And then for the fusions, here's your Thousands Eye Restrict. And then for the invoked monsters, you have your Invoked Ragin, Invoked Kaliga. This is another instant fusion target, of course. And then 1 Purgatrio, and then 2 Mekhaba. Of course, Mekhaba is the one that you'll go into the most. Purgatrio, depending on your scenario, this is a really good OTK enabler. And then these both are instant fusion targets. A lot of times too, if you're also going first, you can just set up Kaliga, and it helps with stopping monster effects. And then next is the side deck. For the side deck, I kept it really sweet and simple. Run 3 Gamma Seal. With the various meta decks going around, it's always good to have Kaijus in your side deck because sometimes they put some big beaters out and you need to remove them from the field. Next is Heavy Storm Duster. I run 3 of. This is great if you are going first. You can side this in. It's good spell and trap removal. Next is one of my favorite cards on the side deck is Red Reboot. This enables more OTKs, especially against Altergeist. Then another card that I put in when I do go first is Solemn Strikes. Card is very underrated. I'll side this in and sometimes surprise my opponent with it because a lot of people don't play Solemn Strikes anymore. And then for the last of the 3 of is Mystical Space Typhoon. The reason I don't run Twin Twister is because every card that I have in my hand when I'm going second is very important to me, so I don't want to discard it. I'm trying to go for the OTK as much as possible. Alright, and that wraps it up for the deck. I hope you enjoyed that profile, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.